Good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are in the part of the Commonwealth. We're glad that you're here. My name is Ronnie Nolan. I'm serving as Executive Director of SAC, and we're glad that you're here today to join us for our second SAC lunch event. We are excited today to have Sherry Klusky with us, who is going to walk us through our census document for this year and give us some information about how to complete the census, what that'll look like, be able to answer any questions that you might have. And we're really excited to be able to offer this for you all as you get ready to complete the census next week. We do have a chat function on here, so feel free if you have questions as we go through to either jump in or jot your questions down into the chat, and we'll be sure to answer those as we move through this presentation. This is really for you all to answer any questions that you might have about the census and how to do it. So we want to make sure that we get those questions answered today as we work through the document. If you look at your chat already, Katie Helton, who has organized this event, has put together the census links to the census document, and that's in your chat, so you can go ahead and find that if you don't have it. And then also Sherry Klusky, who is our Associate Director here at SAC, is going to lead us through. Sherry, the floor is yours. Thank you for being here, and good luck.
Thank you, Ronnie. Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. We're excited that we have so many people attending and looking forward to questions in order to we can get a better product for our census report. So anytime that you have a question, if you'll put it in the chat or if you'll just stop me and we want it to be very informal. We want this to be very beneficial to you. And I want to thank Katie for always being the go-to person. She always gets everybody ready for Zoom meetings. And also she got ELA credit approved for this. So we'll make sure that you get some ELA credit for attending today during your lunchtime. A couple other things we want to make sure about the dates that the SAC membership report, you all had always sent those to SAC before. Well, now Christine Smith and I are running those reports here at SAC. So you will not be sending those reports, just exactly what we did in October. We will be running the reports for December 1st, and then we will be sending you the number that we have on your membership report, and you will need to verify that and have that back to us by December 7th. So that's for the IC membership part of it. Then you will also be filling out a survey that's on Google Forms, and you will have until December 15th to get that completed. And you don't have to send it because it's a Google form. You just go in, you fill that out, and then I will have access to the information. So those are some of the dates that we want you to be aware of. And I will repeat those again. December 1st is our count that we will be looking at in IC to get our numbers from. We will send you those numbers to verify by December 7th, and then you will send those numbers back, confirm that to us by December 15th. Okay, any questions about that? There's two documents that Katie sent you. The first one was the instructions on how to fill out the census report. And at the very top of that, it will say to complete the survey, click. That is where you will click and it will take you to the Google form. So when you get ready to do your December 1st report, you will click right there on that link. That will take you to the Google form. Any questions about dates or how to get to the Google form? Okay. So the other document that we're going to look at today is the SAC annual census survey that you all have completed for years. We're just doing it on a Google form now, so to make that a little bit different. And if you would have that document in front of you as we go through this, I'm going to try to share my screen and we'll see how that works out. So it should look like this. It says KEXAC Annual Census, December 1st, 2022. And what we're going to do during this lunchtime is just go through these. And please, if you have any questions, and Katie, if you could, since I can't see the chat box where I'm sharing my screen, if anybody has a question in the chat box, just let me know, stop me, and we'll go from there. So the first thing that you're going to do is the date completed. It's going to be for the December 1st, but you may not complete it until December 8th. So that's the date that you'll put in on your date completed for for number 1. Okay, now let's see if we can get this to, there it goes, sorry. The next is your district name. It's a drop-down box. You'll just go in and select your district. Your KEXAC program name and school number. We realize some of our programs do not have school numbers, so that's why it has if applicable, but it is a required field. So put your school program name, your KEXAC program name there with your school number, if you have a number, because a lot of our programs do have a school number. And if you don't, then it will still accept it because of not having your number on there, but you must have your name on there. The contact name. If you are the director, principal that wants to fill out this report, then put your name there. If you have somebody else doing the report, please put their name there, and then their email address or your email address, whoever fills out the form. So that way, if there is a question, any concerns, then we know exactly who filled this out and we can email you to verify. And that way it's not like I send it to you and you send it to someone else. That way we'll know exactly who we need to contact if there's any questions about the report.
Sherry,
Uh-huh.
we have a question. School name, we have Breathitt County Day Treatment and Jackson Group Home. Should we list BCDT as the name?
So whatever is on your MOA or how you're listed in your school directory. So Breathitt County Day Treatment would be filling this out for Breathitt County Day Treatment. And then what was the other one? Katie, I'm sorry.
But it was Jackson Group Home.
So Jackson Group Home, we don't have an MOA with Jackson Group Home. We have a MOA with the district, if I'm correct on that.
That's correct, Sherry. Those students attend the day treatment program, so they would be included with that program.
Right. Okay. Does that answer the question then, Katie, or do they have another one?
No, that's good.
Okay, perfect. So, what is your license or rated capacity of the program? This is given to you either by DCBS or by DJJ. Another place that you can always look, especially, I never take for granted that we have new people and people sometimes just assume everybody knows everything. So you can always look inside your school directory. That will show you exactly what your rated capacity is. And it's your contract with DCBS or with DJJ that gives you your rated capacity. The average length of stay is based on all calendar days. And in the instructions, we give you 2 examples. We say student 1 is there for, let me flip over to that, from August 1st to August 12th, which is 12 days. And then we have student 2 that is there from January 3rd to January 10th, and that is 8 days. You combine those 2 students, the 20 days, and then you would divide that by 2, and that gives you 10 days as your average length of stay. The question that we've had on this sometimes is, do I count weekends? Do I count this? Do I count holidays? You count every day. It's based on calendar days for your average length of stay. So the next section of questions is going to be only about December 1st, 2022. Some of our questions take in consideration for a whole year, but this next section is only based on December 1st. It's exactly like with your special ed, they do a December 1 count. We're doing a December 1 count for the next few questions. Your number of state agency children enrolled on 12-1 and 22.
Sherry,
How many ever kids, students that you have in your program on 12-1, that's what you would report there.
Sherry, we got a couple questions.
Okay,
Connie asked, is this for all students withdrawn only, or is it all students present and withdrawn?
so this section here is only for students that are enrolled in your program on December 1st.
Okay. And Marcia says average days for current or all students?
That question is for all students. Any students that you've had, what's your average length of stay? And that's a really good question, because we're not sure sometimes, what are we supposed to be answering here? So on your average length of stay for like your day treatments that have phases, you have 15 for orientation, 30 for learning, 30 for the next phase and 15 for the next phase, or yours may be a little bit different, but that's just what it was when I was at a day treatment. It was 15, 30, 30, and 15. So my average stay of my students would be close to that, except for the fact you have students sometimes that are in your program for a year. And if you have several students that are in your program for a year, then that's going to make your average length of stay a lot higher than what it would be if it was just based upon the phases that you're the 15, the 30, the 30, and the 15. So we're just trying to capture how long are our students staying in these programs, for an average. Are they coming in and out? Like some of our programs are 3 days, 4-day programs, and that's just how that program is set up. But some of our programs are longer, and in our day treatments, some of our kids come in and breeze right through, but then other of our students will come in and be with us for over a year. So we're just trying to be able to report out if anyone asks, what is the average length of stay for a program, whether it be a day treatment, a group home. So
Thank you.
How far back do we go? Do we go all the way back to December 2nd of last year as far as enrollment goes for that average length of stay? Any kid
Yes.
December 2nd beyond that enrolled? Okay.
yes. Any other questions about average length of stay? Perfect. So now we're on, again, we're just capturing December 1st of this year for starting with our question 8. So say we have 50 students on December 1st, we would put a 50 there. We don't need an explanation. We just need a number, 50 on that one. And question 9 is about student identified with special ed with an IEP. We're looking to say, out of those 50 students, how many of those students have an IEP? So we're going to say 10 of those students have an IEP. We've got 50 students enrolled on December 1. That's our answer for number 8. For number 9, students identified with special ed, we're going to say 10. Our next question says students with an IEP identified prior to enrollment. We're going to say all of our kids were identified. So we're going to put a 10 on that question. And I'm not sure why the 8, 9, and 10 is there, but if you'll look at the inside number, that'll help not be confusing. But on part 3, question 3, you are trying to look at students with an IEP identified prior to coming into your program. Question 4, students with an IEP identified while in your program. And you may have some students, especially if you're a long-term program, your average length of stay is much longer. You may identify some kids while they are there, but most of your kids will be identified prior to enrollment. You will get them and you'll get their IEP folder. Number 5, the number of state agency kids educated only on site. We're looking for students, a way to verify how our students, are they being educated on site? Are they going off campus? That's what the next few questions are. So number of state agency educated only in on-site programs. So if all of your kids doesn't leave your program, you would put your 50 on that response on number 12 or number 5, I'm sorry. The number of state agency educated in a traditional offsite A1 school. Some of our programs send all of their kids someplace else to be educated in the A1 school. So they would put their 50 kids there if they sent everybody. If you have some that splits, partially on site, partially at an A1 school, because some of our programs will keep the majority of their kids at the program and educate them there on site, and they'll let a few of their students, for whatever reason, go to the A1 school. So that would be a program that would say, I've got 40 that are going to my program on site. I've got 10 going to my program off site. Any question about that? Okay. So the next group of questions is about from December 2nd of 2021 to December 1st of 2022. The number 8th question says the number of different state agencies receiving educational services at this program. This would be a total record, total number of your students that you served from December 2nd of 2021 to December 1st of 22. So let's say you have 100 students that you have served during that time frame. That is what you would put there. Question 9 says participated in a district operated vocational. If any of those 100 students participated in a vocational program, you would put that number on that answer. If they participated in a gifted and talented program, then that would go there out of your 100 students that you had during that 12-month period. Did you have any students that were dually enrolled? You would enter that number on that. If you have students that participate in a GED program, this is where you would enter it. Out of your 100 students that you had during that 12-month period, did you have any that participated in a GED program? And while we're talking about GED, because we do have students that sometimes graduate and they go off of IC, whether they get their GED, whether they graduate, then we need to know that as we go along. If you have a student that's graduated, we want you to make sure that you send us an email and let us know that, because when we're running the IC reports here, those students will not show up. So we want to make sure that we capture, if you have served a kid that's graduated, we want to make sure that you get credit for that, not just because they dropped off of IC. So if we have any students that completed a high school diploma while enrolled in the program during that 12-month, that's the number that would go there. or if they obtained a GED would be your answer for number 14. If we have 18-year-olds that left the program without a diploma or without a GED, because we want to know, are we being successful with these kids? Are they getting a GED? Are they getting a diploma if they're 18 years old? So we want to, that's why the reasoning behind some of the questions that we have on the survey. We want to know if they've been admitted to post-secondary program or any type after they've graduated. Assessments, we've listed several here. If you all could just let me know in the chat if there's any of those that we have listed that people no longer use, or if there's something that the majority of you use and I need to have listed on there. We tried to list everything that we knew about, so that way everybody could just check it, but we did leave a space for other. But if anything needs to go off this list that nobody uses, if you would just please put that in the chat, or if there's something I need to add on there, just also put that on the chat. So that way we can capture what type of assessments. You know, a lot of people use MAP, a lot of people use TABE. So I know that that's going to show up for me if I have this here on this checkbox. But if there's something that you're using that we're not capturing, just make sure and let us know in the chat, please. Again, these next questions are about the past 12 months. And Justin, if you don't care, would you share how you run your reports to capture that?
Which Justin? There's like 3 or 4 of us.
Oh, well, Justin from Mayfield, I guess I should say.
You caught me in the middle of a bite of my lunch. Hold on.
No, you go ahead and eat and I'll talk and then we can switch out.
Now, what was it you want me? I'm done. What would you want me to do again?
Just because like I'm new to KEXAC, you know, and so I was thinking about how people capture from 12 to 21. How do they need to do that? And then I found out, oh, you can do that. And I see you just have to run it in 2 separate reports.
Correct. Yeah, because what happens is that report, the KEXAC attendance report, will not pull from 2 different years. So you'd have to select, go into run report instead of, normally we would pick one single date for our student count. But for this, you would run from 12/2 to the end of your school year to catch all those guys and gals that came into your program during that time for the 21-22 school year, and then pick it up again for the 22-23 school year, because that report, to most of my experience, will not pull from multiple years without maybe causing you a problem. So then you just take that data, pull any kids that are overlapping that have carried over from one year to the next, and just kind of combine those the data points. It may take a little bit of legwork just to make sure you're not duplicating an account or you're not missing somebody. But unfortunately, that's about the best way to pull that, unless you have a database or a spreadsheet that you kind of keep internally as your kids come and go. But that is basically from, let me get an Infinite Campus here real fast. I can turn on my video so you can see my mug.
And Justin, while you're pulling that up, you're exactly right. IC will not combine school years. And so that is why you do have to run it from December 2nd, 2021 up until your last day of school for that year, and then start again for the next school year, because it will not combine school years. And I didn't know that when I first came to KEXAC. So, and Justin pointed that out. So that's why I made him talk during this, because I think it was shared at a regional meeting or something that you all had talked about that.
Yeah, so basically, when you go to your KEXAC membership report to generate that, at the very top, make sure you want the year in Infinite Campus that you're pulling data from. So like the first one I would switch to 21-22 school year, then pull my membership, and in the start and end date, just put in December 2nd, 2021 through, to me, it won't be anybody, because I don't think I had anybody come in, because the tornado hit us a few days later and stuff. But to what the end date would be the last day of your school year for that year, pull that data, and then go back up to the top and switch to the 22-23 school year, pull your data again for the first day of school to 12/1/2022, pull that data. And then on the off chance that you had kids coming and going during the summertime, you may have to dig and get that information as well, because that's all part of this report here, because those are our kids. And but some of you may not be able to do Infinite Campus during the summertime. Like I don't do Infinite Campus during summertime. I just have to keep a database of my kids that are coming and going if they happen to be a short time for whatever reason, and then combine that information.
And some people put their calendar in IC and do have access to where they can do their summer months in that. And it just depends upon your district, your DPP, if they put your 12-month calendar in there. If you only put the regular school calendar in there, then you're not going to be able to capture what happens in the summer.
Correct.
On that, and you would have to do that separately.
Sherry, so there's a question from Amy. Do you include summer attendance or only school year attendance? I think you kind of were just touching on that.
Right. You include everything from December to December.
And
because we're trying to track all the students that each program serves within a year.
great. And then we have a question from Adam about the GED. Says for a student to obtain their GED, they must pass all 4 exams. However, they could pass 1 through 3 exams prior to exiting your program. Can we add something like students who passed 1 through 3 GED exams in your program next year to get a little bit more information about how many of the tests they did pass, even if they didn't pass all 4?
Okay. And that's something I can check on and let you know for sure if that's something that we could add. If they had just passed certain sections, at least to where it looks like that the student has been successful. So great. Thank you. Any other questions while we're stopped? Okay, so we'll get back to question number 18, the number of students who transition out of the program. The information that we're trying to capture here is where do the students go when they leave your program? Do they go to another pre-K-12 setting, or do they not go to another pre-K? So that's your first question that you're, about where are they going? Do they go to a PK or do they not go? And so if they go to a PK-12 setting, where do they go? Do they go to, and that's question 19A. Again, the 27-28, that doesn't show up when you have this document open live. I'm not sure why the extra numbers are on there. But the 19A, are those students going to an A1 traditional school when they leave your program? Are they going to a district operated alternative program? Or are they going to another KEXAC educational program? We want to know when they leave your program, where are they going? An A1 school, an A5, or an A6, which is a KEXAC program. We also want to know about the facility type. Students transition to another KEXAC program. So if they leave, those students on 19C, we have 20 kids there saying that they're going to an A6 KEXAC program. Then we want to break that down more and say, are those kids Department of Juvenile Justice? Are those kids community-based? Or are they mental health day treatments? We want to know when they leave your program, are they going into one of those 3 types of facilities? The next section is about the students coming into our programs. Where are they coming from? Are they coming from a traditional school? Are they coming from a district operated alternative program? Or are they coming from another KEXAC program? And you can look in IC the withdrawals and see if they're coming from another KEXAC program. So that helps you to keep track of where these kids are coming from, if they've come from another A6 KEXAC program. And were they not enrolled? Because sometimes we have kids that were not enrolled. So we want to capture that also. Again, just like above, when we were saying about the students leaving, the students coming in, are they coming from what type of facility? Are they coming from a DJJ? Are they coming from DCBS? Or are they coming from our mental health day treatments? Students leave the program and do not enter another pre-K. What are they doing if they're not going into another pre-K? And I know this is harder to keep track of because once our kids leave our programs, sometimes we have no way of knowing what happens to them. But if by chance you do know, this is the information that we want to capture here. Are they entering the workforce? You know, did your student leave your program and go into the workforce? Did they go to post-secondary? Did they have a state tuition waiver if they went to post-secondary? We're just trying to capture information to where we can talk about what happens with our students from beginning to end. Did they enter an independent living program? Did they stay committed to state care? All of these things, just these questions from 23 all the way through F or through G, H, I'm looking all the way down through there, through I, is telling us what's happening with our students. Did they go into the military? Some of our students, unfortunately, go to another adult correction facility. You know, if that's happening, we need to know. Or if there's no plan identified. You know, out of the 100 students that we've had for that year, we may have 90 that had no plans identified. We don't know where those students went. Hopefully it's not that higher number, but it's a possibility. We also want to capture the number of students in A6 programs for the first time. Again, you can use IC to help you know. It'll show past enrollments. You can see if they've been in another A6 program. The
Sherry?
numbers, yes.
Just have a quick question. From Doug, questions 18 and 19 only deal with students who truly transition out and not get moved around in the foster care system. Is that correct?
Right. We're looking for them transitioning, and I'm going back up to that question. Hold on just a second. So 18 A and B is, are they going to another educational setting, or did they not go to another educational setting? Out of the 100 students that you had the whole year, what did they do? Did they go to another educational, or did they not? Is that A and B of 18?
Okay, Justin pointed out that Job Corps is another option there that we might want to make a note of for next year.
Perfect.
And
We
then
can add-
Amy asked, should we type a 0 on each question that we do not have a number to add, or just leave it blank?
Amy, I so appreciate that question. If you have 0, put 0. Please do not type words in these fields, because every time I have a word in a field, I have to go back and probably send you an email or give you a call and say, I'm just making sure that this is a 0. So yes, all of this should be numbers in all of these fields. So if everything, because I get not applicable a lot of times. Last year I got NA. So if you would please, if you don't have anything, just go all the way across and put 0s. Great question.
Thanks.
All right. So we've talked about enter and exit. Did all of that. Sorry, going back down, make everybody dizzy. Number of students that age out while in state care, you know, of those 100 students that we've had the whole year, how many aged out? Number of 18-year-old state agencies that left without a GED or diploma would enter there. And so our next section is going to be about staff. You'll see full-time equivalent. We want to know how many full-time people that you have working at your program. And if you have 4.5 teachers, then put 4.5. So that way we're capturing what's truly their staff at the program. So question 27 says full-time certified teachers on 12/1/22. List a number, I shouldn't say a list, but put the number of teachers that are assigned to your program. So if you have 7 teachers full-time, put 7 teachers. If you have 6.5, put 6.5 in that response. And then question 28 says certified special education teachers. So of those 10 teachers that you had on question number 27, then you would put how many of them have special ed certification. So if you put 10 on 27 and all 10 of those have special ed certification, then you would put 10 on 28, because that's always a little bit confusing for some people. 27 is asking for the number of certified teachers you have in the program. 28 is asking for how many of those teachers that you just told me was certified in your program have special ed certification. And then question 29 asks how many of those teachers that you just told me on 27 hold emergency certification. Last year, that number was a little higher than it had previously been, so we wanted to make sure that we talked about that this year. 27 is your number of teachers. 28 is how many of those teachers are special ed. 29 is how many of those, if any, and you may not have any, you may enter a 0 there, have emergency certification. On your full-time education administrators, some of our programs have 5 administrators. Some of our programs have 0.5 administrators because they wear multiple hats. Enter what your program has. A lot of our programs hopefully will have a full-time administrator, but if not, enter that percentage, enter that 0.5 or 0.33, depending upon how many hats you wear at your district. But we're trying to capture how many of our programs have full-time administrators. Teaching assistants.
Sherry, I got a quick question about that one.
Okay.
If you are the admin, do you include yourself if you're also certified special education? Did you list yourself both places? Count yourself both places?
So if you're listing yourself on 27 as a certified teacher,
Or certified special ed?
then you would be in the total on 28.
Mhm.
So if you have 10 teachers that are certified teachers, full-time equivalent teachers, and then all 10 of them have special ed degrees, then you would put 10. If only 5 of them had special ed degrees, then you would put those 5. And
And you would include yourself if you're the administrator, but also certified special ed.
yes,
Yes. Jim said, If you were the
If you're listing, I'm sorry, Katie, if you're listing yourself as a certified teacher, you would, because if not, your numbers are gonna look odd and I'm gonna email you.
Jim says.
You're
sorry,
either an administrator or a teacher, because we ask questions about the administrators on 30. So you-
Okay, so I think the question
It
is. if
boils
you're an
down to what
administrator-
percentage are you doing admin and what percentage are you doing special ed or teaching? Like I'm 50-50 right now, so I'd be 0.5 for teacher and ad versus admin versus 1 and 1. I think that's the point.
Right, because you're having to do the admin and be the administrator, right?
Correct.
So, Jim says, this is an example of that, if you are the admin, and we've got a question about clarifying what we mean by admin. Does that mean you're on site or is admin at the district level? But you spend all day in the classroom, how do you count that?
And these are great questions because we want to try to reflect truly what's happening in our programs. So if you are an administrator and you're an administrator half the time, you would put 0.5. Or if you are administrator / teacher, and the majority of your time is teaching, you would list yourself as a teacher. Some of our programs have administrators that oversee the program at the central office, but they're still listed everywhere as administrator over the program. So you would list that person, whatever percentage of their time was dedicated to that program. Does that answer that?
I think so.
And if you need to call me or email me after we get through with this, please feel free to, because just the thing with alternative programs, nothing fits in a little box. Sometimes we always have the what ifs. So feel free to call me or email me, either one. But basically, we're trying to capture how many certified teachers are in our program. That's what 27 is. 28 of those teachers that are certified, how many have special ed certification? How many have emergency certification? How many administrators, how many of our programs have a full-time administrator? Or if not, part-time? So on 31, we're talking about teaching assistants. Those are your aides. We're trying to capture how many programs have your teachers' aides, those top in that are full-time. Other educational support staff, that would be if you're lucky enough to have a guidance counselor, if you're lucky enough to have a transition coordinator. Some of our programs do have a transition coordinator, so that's wonderful. But any additional staff that is tied into your program, that's what you want to capture there, your other educational support staff. And then question 58 allows you to give us some comments, some feedback, suggestions on what you think goes well with this survey, what we need to improve on. Like today, some of the comments that you all made, those are things that we can do that will help to improve the data that we have. Then one of the other things that we want to make sure is that you print you a copy of the report, because I get lots of emails saying, I need a copy of the report. I send it to you, because the minute that you finish with it, it comes straight to me. And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to email it. It comes straight to me. But you do have to print yourself a copy and make yourself a copy. And up on the Google form, and it doesn't show it here, but on the Google form, there's 3 dots. And on those 3 dots, you click on that and then you hit print, and it will come up and say save as a PDF. So you save it as a PDF and you save it, to your desktop, save it in your documents, wherever. That gives you a copy of the document. And please, if you forget to do that, I don't care at all to send you a copy. But we just wanted to make sure that we did talk about that today, that there is a way for you to save the document. You go up right in the corner, in the top of the field, there'll be 3 dots. You click on that and then you print, and it says save as a PDF. So that is a very quick run through of the census survey. Hopefully it was beneficial to you. I think anytime that we have an opportunity to talk about getting our data consistent, that's a win-win for all of us. So I wanted to do this lunchtime. I hope too many of you didn't miss lunch altogether, because I know your time is very, very valuable. And I appreciate you so much taking time out of your lunch to spend with me and go through all of these documents. Please let me know if you have any questions or any concerns. Send me an email, give me a call, either way. Katie, is there anything else in the chat box?
Yeah, we've got a couple things.
Okay.
Bobby says, I'm a full-time admin, but I help write IEPs. So where would he count himself in that situation?
If you're a full-time admin, I would list myself as an admin.
Just a one.
The FTE one. Yeah.
Okay, great. And then our social workers support staff.
Yes. Anybody that is part of that program. Now, we're not talking about the treatment side, like some of our programs have a completely separate treatment side. We're talking about, like, if somebody is hired with your program that specifically is part of your program.
So if the social worker is hired by your district,
The
they would
district,
count. But if the
right.
social worker is hired by the group home, they would not, correct?
Right. Any other questions? Let's see if I can see the chat room. Okay. Again, remember that this is for December 1, and we will be pulling your IC information that you all always sent. Please do not send that through email. Christine Smith and I will be pulling those. We will have the number, send that back to you, and you will need to verify that and let us know that that number is correct, because we do have some students that you all in the past have written in because they've dropped out of IC. So those are the students we don't want to miss. And then complete the survey and hopefully have everything to us by December 15th. And if you all don't have any more questions, I just want you to know how much I appreciate all that you do. And I never want to give you additional work to do. So I'm trying to make this as simple as possible. So anything else? If not, have a wonderful day and a Merry Christmas. And thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
And guys, I have posted the evaluation link over in chat. It's very short and it will automatically send you a certificate upon completion. If you don't receive it, just let me know and I'll get you one.
Oh, and one more, there's always one more thing, and this has been recorded. So if you or some of your other staff need to view it, it is recorded. Thank you.